I'm recording.
What's up, everybody?
Hello.
Virgo season.
Oh my God, it totally is your season. I keep forgetting that. I haven't even celebrated that. I'm happy we get to celebrate that here.
Yeah.
Virgo,
We
Virgo.
went from the new moon in Virgo into Virgo season. It's Mercury retrograde shadow phase is starting. And then I feel like we have a full moon in Pisces at the end of the month. And there's portals that I need to educate myself on.
Ooh,
There's
there's
some
a lot.
portals going on in September.
Yeah, the energy has definitely been like a lot.
It feels like a Mercury retrograde already started. Like I've had people, a friend of mine asked me on Twitter and was like, yo, sis, like, it's that retrograde stuff you be talking about? Because it feels like it. Yeah. And I was like, yeah, girl, it's coming. Like, this is the shadow phase. But I almost feel like it's a big tower. Like a lot of tower moments are happening. Like the universe is like rearranging shit.
Yeah, clearing stuff out, making space for all the new that's supposed to come in if you choose that. That makes sense. That makes a lot of sense. Honestly, when you said shadow, I felt like a ding, like,
Right.
oh, that's what's going on. That's why I'm feeling so heavy almost. Because
Yep.
we all respond differently to it. So, like,
Yep.
you know, like some of us feel it at different times, whatever it is.
And I kept telling people that in this season, you might have a week where you're feeling great, but other people may not be. So that's what's tricky too, is that it's not like everybody's going through bullshit. Some people are good. Like some people
they're chilling.
Are riding the waves. Even if there is bullshit happening, they're in a space where they're riding the waves, but that doesn't mean everybody else is. Fact. So it's still going to be triggering. It's still going to be crazy. And one thing that I want the viewers to know is that me and Sabrina didn't talk maybe for this weekend, a few days, and we both had the same message, which is why we had to do this podcast today. And we decided, like, as much as we ask, because I know I've been asking, like, you know, Divine, I read cards, I do tarot, but God, if there's something else you want me to do, let me know. I'm ready to work. I'm ready to work.
Fact.
And I feel like we've both been getting called to just talk.
Yeah.
As much
and
as
it's fun to talk together. Yeah. And honestly, I feel like I'm going to have to really learn, like, it's very interesting because, like, when we got on the phone earlier today and I hadn't even seen any, I saw that you were active and I was excited, but I hadn't seen any of the videos, nothing. And then me and you talked and we were like, wow, it's the exact same thing.
Right. Like, and as you're telling me, I'm like, oh my God, I just was talking about that. So that's so, and we've been doing that for a while. So for anybody that's listening, try to, I'm getting chills, feel empowered by your intuition. Like all of last year, we did this silently, where we didn't go live, but we were reading the energy before the season started and saying, I feel like this. And then when the whole season mapped out like that, we were like, oh, wow. So I feel like this year, where it's our spiritual responsibility to share it sometimes.
Oh my God.
Right. And
but you're so right. Like, tears are welling in my eyes. Like,
right. Yeah. And we couldn't have done it until we confirmed it and trusted in our own intuition.
Yeah, no, it really is that. And I think, like, what's cool is I feel like even for people listening to us who've been rocking with us, like, you know, doing this project, like, as we explore it and discover it together as a sisterhood, as a team, like, y'all are a part of that too now. You know what I'm saying? Like, y'all are a part of our crew. If you're in our conversation, we're thinking of you as we're talking, like, you're here with us, you know, like, as you interact. And
we have fams.
Yeah, we really do have family. Like, y'all are part of the crew, your family. You know? So I mean, if you're here listening and it's resonating, like, that's the only explanation for why that is. That's how we call it in. That's what we're looking for, and that's what that's what we've created with each other, like, in our friendship. So,
and I feel like we're confident to say these messages because it's always coming from a place of love. Like, you called it, I want to say, because, you know, I don't have the best memory, but when it comes to things that you've said, that you prophesied,
you like to do that, and I always be like, for you on YouTube, remember? I hope you like my facial expressions.
Yes, it's like, even if you don't remember, I'll remember the prophecy that you have stated, even when you don't recall. And it's that there are a lot of false prophets. There are a lot of people.
Yeah, but that was the really big thing.
that are coming out of the woodwork, that are teaching spirituality in certain ways out of like more like ego based and not
Yes.
empowering other people.
Yes.
And maybe like they're still angry. I feel like maybe that's what it is a lot of those healers may very well want to heal people, but they themselves are not fully healed. So it's hard to discern the point that they're coming from.
Oh my God. I didn't even expect us to talk about this because two things, it's like, yeah, it's like just to, I feel like I'm going to say it because it's coming. Like there's two things with that, right? It's like, or maybe it's gone because I said that. But like one thing, oh, okay. I'm like stopping myself and like hesitating, which I don't need to do, which is interesting. I wonder if that's in the collective, the energy right now. But like, it's like with those kinds of people who are teaching that way, like I feel hesitant to say that their practice is incomplete because who am I to say that?
Mm-hmm.
But for me, it feels incomplete. Like we don't practice that way. Like and what I mean incomplete is it doesn't include themselves. Right, like what, like, and so that's like, and we don't, that's like a really big thing here, like for us and like how we do things. It's like it doesn't really matter what we're teaching to everybody if we're doing this, but if we're not living it and practicing it with each other in our own worlds, like on our own, like if it's not what we actually are and embodying. And then the other thing that came through is like, but also like, who am I to say that? Who are we to say that? Like that's their own lesson, like they're on their own path. But I think like the big thing for us, and I think what you were getting at and leading up to is like, we feel really called to be here and be sharing this with you all because we have a very unique perspective. And, you know, we came to this on our own. And so we feel called to share it. And that's why like the spiritual responsibility is something we take so seriously. You know, like, and that's why we're talking tonight and we like set it up and technical difficulty it up.
Incomplete is a good way to say it because it's a good segue into what we're talking about today is that everything has to be centered and grounded. So like you said, and I think I said something like that similar too, is like everybody's on their own lessons, planes, dealing with their lessons according to how they have to do it. So yes, we can't really judge, you know, these healers that are incomplete, but it's like we feel called to let people know when they're listening to it, practice discernment. Like I'm not gonna say the person's name because I feel like I'm over that situation, but there was a healer that I was big on last year that I was following, sharing. I was telling all my friends to follow this healer. And then when she would come from a place of hurt, I was like, I don't agree with this message. I don't like this message. Energetically, we had beef. We never talked to each other. This lady blocked me and she has like millions of followers, but she felt what I was not feeling. And that's okay. You know what I'm saying? And I actually bumped into one of her messages recently. She's pregnant, having a baby. So maybe that shaped her differently now. So the point I'm making is that even when I wasn't confident in my own power and understanding what I was feeling, I had the chance to see someone I was almost looking up to and say, I don't agree with that. And that's okay. I didn't bash her. I wasn't like, everybody unfollow, even though I wanted to at one point, but, but I'm glad to say that I was confident enough to not be like a stan fan, that to just be so one track minded in what they were teaching. And I was able to take what I needed and what I didn't need.
Yeah, I like that because that's like almost like cultish, you know, and that's like a big word and a supercharged word for a lot of people. So like, I don't even want to unpack any of that. But I do want to say like, it's like what, you know, what I'm hearing Leigh say, like, it's like the cult of like your inner authority, right? Centered in God, the cult of like your inner leader, right? Like your inspired leader, your, you know, like the from in connection with God, always putting source first and then you next. And then if I guess like if you want to talk about it like that, like to prioritize, I guess, right? Because like I think like I don't know. I know we're gonna get to the message, but I'm surprised we have all these other messages before the message we actually came on here to talk about. So I guess like it has to definitely preface, but just like what's coming as you're saying all that is like, you know, God first. And like this one teacher who I love, like because he does center that, he centers like your own inner authority, right? He's always like, you know, God first, For those of you that know, awesome. For those of you that don't, you can always message us and we'll tell you, but I don't feel comfortable necessarily dropping his name either. But like, mad respect to him, and I love him, and I do, so God first, I am, we are. And it's like those three, it's like that's it. God first, I am, we are. Like, you put God first, you have you, and then we all connect. And so like that's even like one way of going about the spiritual path yourself. Like one way of like a map almost is like coming through for some of you. I don't know, but what do you think? Do you feel like we want to go into what's coming up? Because it's really about like this energy of I don't even remember what I called you. I literally called Leigh and was like, yo, I'm getting this message, we need to make a podcast. And that's how this started. And she was like, no, I literally just gave this message this morning. I'm like, what?
And it's like the best way I could try to put it is, not wishing even, okay, I don't even want to start it with that. It's how you handle negative energy.
Ooh.
It's that, there it is. I'm like, there it is.
I love that, because that is so neutral. And we had talked about different titles that we're going to probably bring up those concepts, but I like that, like how to handle negative energy, because I think, I love that.
And sometimes it's your own negative energy. And I felt it was crazy because this morning I was like, the energy is so real. You could feel the evil eye. Don't be the one to put the evil eye on yourself, because you need to know you can do that to yourself, whether you're putting yourself down or being so invested in wishing bad on someone else, you're attracting that. And and I think one of the things that popped into my head too is that sometimes you have a reason to be hurt by people. Sometimes your feelings are justified, but wishing them negative energy back is not helpful to you.
It's never really gonna, and that's gonna be hard for some people to hear, I think. And I think it's gonna be hard for some people to hear. And I think like, if it is like, that's like a place for you to maybe, bookmark, or, I don't know, do what you need to do. Like maybe stop this podcast. I don't know why I'm getting that, but like,
email us,
like,
vent,
But I think what is important for us is to be real with you and say what it is. Like, that's the way this forum is set up. Like, so it's like, honestly, I even want to go so far as saying like, that is never justified. Like, I know that's going to be really intense for some people to hear. It's never justified to be sending negative energy to people, because what me and Leigh, we like kind of started to talk about it, but we were like, let's wait to the podcast. Like I kept feeling it, you kept feeling it. We're like, we want to do it here, like live, like real.
Process
and
together
it's like
in real time.
Yeah. And it's like the thing that I started to touch on, and like, we're going to bring here and bring it real, like, is like, when you wish, we're all connected, right? Whether you believe that like as a far away concept, or you like kind of believe it, or it in your body and it's integrated, like it's a universal truth. It's like a universal law. So like, when you send negative energy to other people intentionally or unintentionally, you're always technically hurting yourself. Like, that's just it. Like, I don't know.
It'll bring it right back to you. And I can't tell how many times as a teenager, or, even just hearing other people talk about other people. And it's like, you kind of get that, well, that person's not a good person. Why are good things happening to them? And it's like, that could be right. And even if it's true, even if you do feel like that, you dwelling on it is only putting yourself in a box. The universe doesn't understand more than positive and negative and vibrations. They're not a computer. The universe is just universing. You know what I mean? It's just reflecting back to you. So it's like, if you harness all these negative emotions, all of this negative pent up, and then you turn it into anger, you're not going to move in alignment with how you need to heal yourself.
No, because you're automatically, in certain emotions, you're automatically blocked off from source. Like, if you're in a certain vibration, like, we close ourselves off or we open ourselves up. Source, God, love, which is love, prosperity, like all the things everybody wants is always available to you. But are you blocked off? Are you open? And for what reason? I don't know. I keep getting go.
One good advice too that I remember you saying a while ago was to wish it back to their higher selves. they know what to do with it. If somebody hurts you, if somebody, even if they didn't hurt you and you just might not like a certain person. And you know what, you were like, you know what, instead of wishing bad to them or back to them, or if they're hating on you, just say, I ask their higher self to send them the healing and what they need at this time to process. Because energetically, you don't want that war.
You don't want that smoke. No, you really don't.
You don't want
no
that
one wants the
smoke. Right.
Like, I don't want it. And you know, it's funny you said that. And just to be a little when I was saying that, so clearly, like, it's like it's the energy, because you know, technique, whether it's good energy or negative energy, like specifically on the topic of negative energy, like I remember it was like something like people were sending negative energy, but that's still their energy. And like I didn't want to send it like right back to them, because that's, you know, now we're just going back and forth doing like psychic attacks. So it was like send the energy to their higher self back to them to be like cleansed, like what you were saying, like cleansed, integrated, like, you know, like for whatever's for their highest good in accordance with divine will and their will, like for the right time for them, like so that the energy doesn't psychically attack them per se, it just goes back to like their guides, and then it, you know, there's like all these other things, and so you're not all participating in that on the same level,
right? And there,
for those listening,
there's so many levels and layers to this, because we even got into like TikTok craze and talking about TikTok. Because there are going to be women our age, there's going to be women older, there's going to be, you know, I want to say that everybody is powerful in their own way. Everybody is.
Yes, that's absolutely true.
Everybody is empowered. So I would be a fool to sit here and say, you know, oh, don't worry about this person because they can't do nothing. No, an evil eye is an evil eye, regardless of where it is. The problem is feeding into it, not trusting in divine. And the other thing, that when it came to this TikTok craze and the girls maybe younger, I feel called to say girls younger, and guys, we'll get into that because that's a whole nother topic. But is that a lot of our young girls are hurt. A lot of these young girls been through trauma, they've been through traumatic experiences. And I feel like in our teenage years, especially if you're naturally spiritual, is when we decide, are we going to be love and light and crystals and fairies, or are we going to go to the dark side and, you know, go more into like the emo phase? And the dark phase is on TikTok. You can literally go and get little spells. I go like this because.
Are you serious? Wait. I've never heard any of this. So explain what?
Yes, on TikTok, they're like conjuring shit and they're like doing spells, like the same way we would look up tea blends and bath salt blends, like do it yourself projects where we're trying to like do cute shit. These kids are like, put your name 3 times on a piece of paper, do this, like, and that's stupid shit we heard when we were younger and in high school, you know what I mean? And it's dangerous. I feel called to tell people that it is really fucking dangerous, whether no matter what age you are, because you don't know what you're conjuring up. I've read cards for some girl that was like, yeah, I called in a demon that was a good demon for help once. And I was like,
I hope y'all watch this on the YouTube, bro, because you're missing out on these facial expressions.
Watch the YouTube so you can see our freaking faces. Like, and it just lets you know that it's accessible. When you get these urges in your brain, that's real. Like that is like, there is negative and positive energy. You're always gonna have a little birdie on your shoulder that's saying F that person, fight back. And then the other one that's like, you don't need to do that, girl. You are protected, you are good, and you are all right. You don't need to do that. So I feel like these teenagers may have well been through trauma, yes, but they're setting themselves up for more karmic debt and karmic issues by playing games and wishing negative on people that hurt. It could be a stupid breakup. Imagine being 13 and putting a hex on somebody that you dated for like a month, and now you got to deal with that for all your lifetimes.
Oh my God. I didn't know that this is what they were doing. I'm like floored. I'm floored. I'm like, what? Like,
yeah, my friend's daughter told me, she was like, there's tarot TikTok, and then there's dark spiritual TikTok. There's like people doing spell work on there. There's like, and then with the guys, you know, we have our divine masculine that they may know how to speak. They may be good with the wordplay. They may know a few things, and then they're using that to prey on other vulnerable people, men and women in the spiritual community, and make you feel like you need them, which is why we always say everybody is powerful. We're here to empower people, and by empowering them, it's staying grounded and coming from a place of love. If a healer is telling you, fight back, set this, do that, and nobody's gonna fuck with you, you kind of got to be like, whoa.
Whoa. It's kind of a red flag. Like, you really shouldn't be doing that. I mean, it's hard because what's coming through too, like, you know, it's like some people, if you feel like you need protection, I feel like I told you this too when we first met, like, it was like, if you feel like you need protection, call in protection. Like, I'm never going to be an advocate of, like, if you feel in fear and you legitimately want to call in the angels, call in and affirm using the name of Jesus Christ, like, I would never advise anyone not to do what they feel intuitively to do. Like, because that is just a whole nother level of stuff. But I think, like, what we're really talking about is, like, people who are feeling negative energy. Like, I've been feeling negative energy. I know, you know, Lee's been dealing with it. And it's like, it's really a test of, like, it's really a test. It's a test of, like, are you really practicing what you believe? And are you going to get pulled into, like, this, like, back and forth? Or are you going to, you know, send it back to the higher self? I don't believe in return to sender. I cannot stand return to sender.
Yes.
And that is not everybody. That is not everybody, to each your own, but I don't believe in that.
Right.
So like those candles, that stuff, like, that's like old school stuff. Like, that stuff, like, my aunts did, like, you know, like when they were practicing, like, whatever they were practicing, like, you know, doing whatever they're doing, like, you know, I don't do that. We don't, I mean, you know, speak for me.
I don't even recommend that for clients. Like, I get reader. I have never, and I think maybe I've put that into my intention when I do readings, that's not the type of reader or services that I give. I would never tell somebody to light a candle to get somebody to fall in love with them. I would never tell somebody, light this candle to get back at such and such. Like, to me, that's not what I practice. So I wouldn't tell somebody else to do that.
I love that. I love that, because it's like, you're just setting yourself up, like, for ties and spiritual things. Like, you're basically saying to God, like, I know better than you, so I'm going to do this because you clearly don't know and I know.
Right.
What are you saying? Like, God, you know better than God? I don't, yo, who are you?
Right.
I mean, I'm just need to talk to you. Like, you might have a connection that I don't know. Like,
right. You can't tear apart what God himself is putting together. So even if somebody's preying on your downfall, doing these type of things, and it brings us back to the title, how do you handle negative energy? And it's like, even though we're so grounded in alignment and we practice daily, like, I feel like I could say that we practice daily. We try to catch ourselves when we're feeling low. We don't always have high vibrational days.
No, that's not real life.
Right. And it's like, we literally talked today about how we dealt with the negative energy that was popping up.
That we've been feeling. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So, and then what is it? So it was a lot of forgiveness. I'll say for me, like, maybe we can share some of that with folks. Maybe that's helpful. Like, I mean, for me, I think we're at a point where we can kind of pinpoint, kind of where it's coming from, or even, like, what it is. Like, for me, it's a lot of, like, envy and, like, jealousy and comparison energy, which is fine. Like, okay, I have two things to say. So it's like, which is fine. Oh damn, every time I have multiple things to say, my brain, like, short circuits, and it's like, you have so many things, blah, blah, blah. So it's like, okay, so what did I do? I immediately went into forgiveness for me. So whether you can pinpoint it or not doesn't matter. That's, like, I think we're giving levels for whoever you are, because I feel like a lot of people listen to this. Like, I feel like we get, like, people, like, who are just starting out, people who are, like, well on the path and seasoned, and, like, you know, like, wherever you fall. So if you can pinpoint it, great. And then you can offer, and if you can't, okay, but you can still offer forgiveness. That was something I did. Forgiveness for them, forgiveness for myself, for getting upset, forgiveness for them for doing what they don't know that they're doing, praying that they get healed. I know, like, you were talking about that earlier too, Lee, like, and then something else was coming, but I'll throw it to you, and when it comes back, I'll say it. So
it was similar. Like, definitely, as soon as you said it, like, you know, as soon as you said the word forgiveness, I was like, girl, I was wishing well on the person that's it.
And I feel like that's a step up. Like if you can wish well,
I was praying
you
for
are
the
winning.
person that I feel is like putting negative.
Genuinely.
I was literally like, I want this person to be so happy that they stop focusing on me. Like I want them to be so in alignment, so healed that they don't ever have to, because I don't think I'm a bad person, period. Like I'm not saying I'm perfect, but I don't feel like I exude that energy. Whereas someone who I know or don't know even has to have any type of issue if we don't have an issue. You know what I mean?
But that's the thing about people and negative energy. It's like a lot of times it's not even about us. It's really about them, right? And what they're sending out and getting back to themselves, right? So they may be in their world thinking, damn, like she's sending spells back too. She's doing this back too. And bro, like nobody in this podcast is doing that. You on your own fighting yourself. And you'll figure that out when you're ready.
Right.
You feel me? So like I feel like that's like maybe one way to talk about it. I don't know, like we're channeling a lot of energy right now, so it's really interesting going in and out and being aware of what's happening as we're talking on multiple levels.
It's like, you know, we say it's a spiritual war, and like I know some people are like, okay, but it really is though. Whether you're conscious of it or not, everybody is dealing with it on some type of level because it's a testing phase. Like you said, we have went through after 2020. I feel like we just jumped into 2021 and the universe was like, okay, you learned all these lessons, you got all these downloads, you got what you wanted, now what are you going to do?
What are you going to do?
What did you learn? What are you going to do? So some people are upset at how their own actions have played out.
Yes.
Other people are like, I'm going to say, like I said, I'm never going to see her and act like we're perfect, but I know
we're not
practically doing the work.
We have been trying. Hold on, my alarm.
Okay. We have been trying. So I feel like, you know, this is a time where it's testing us, even us, to see if we're going to lose our shit, if we're going to return that energy back to people, if we're going to get back on our, you know, oh, woe is me, even getting negative and being hard on ourselves. Like that's what I about putting the evil eye back on yourself, is because once you get to a state of alignment, then you start looking around like, well, what else could I have? What else is going wrong? And you start looking for things that aren't there.
Yes. I wish I had timed this. I'm not sure how long we've been on. I guess I'll find out and we'll probably, but like, I agree. And like what came up, like when you were saying all of that, I started writing a little bit down. It's like, this would be a cool time. I think maybe, I don't know how you feel about this, like moving into like the unintentional evil eye stuff that we do, like how we've been talking about how you do it to yourself, how you send that energy to yourself. And I also want to point out, like sometimes, not all the time, okay, but sometimes when we are encountering negative energy, it's because there's some resonance in us. So maybe like for people like who are on the path, like, you know, like it might not be like complete resonance, right? It's but it might be a little, it's like a little kink in the chain versus the whole chain being fucked up. Oh, sorry. So you know what I'm saying? So like it for people that are on the path. Oh, I got my body, I felt it. Like what then that's like one piece of it too. It's like it's a good place to question, like is there resonance here? What is this trying to teach me? Is this even a little bit mine? Okay, no, then this gotta go. Like I just want to keep the lesson part. I don't need to keep anything else of this in my space. That came through. But I was thinking to go back to the segue into like the unintentional piece, and like how when you're not doing self-awareness work, or people around you are not doing self-awareness work, I mean their shadow is still there. We talked about this a lot. Like a shadow is like a habit. It just, everybody else can see it, but you, because it becomes invisible because you're on automated, right? You're not, there's no awareness practicing.
I feel like literally I've been split in half, and I've been like putting my shadow on a leash this week. Like, girl, calm down. Calm down, girl. Calm down. The energy is real. And you know, we had talked about using your shadow to set boundaries for certain things.
Yeah, it's not a negative thing.
It's just not fully operating from it when things are negative. Use it when you're grounded enough to set a boundary, not when you're in a vulnerable emotional state, because then it becomes erratic.
Yeah, it's about the integration of it. It's about giving love to all the parts of yourself by acknowledging all the parts, even the not so pretty parts, right? That's what shadow work really is a lot of the time. It's like accepting all of the parts of yourself that you got taught not to accept in society. So I don't know, I guess I just feel called, like, to when we were talking about that on the phone, you know, together, about like how, like, you know, people around us, you know, they're doing all this negative work and they don't even realize it because they're just, that's not what they're choosing, that's not where they're at. So I feel like that's just like another understanding for some folks, and then recognizing that I'll say we, like all the me's here, but you know, I'm not trying to speak for you, Lee, unless it resonates, but I think you would agree, like, we recognize that we were operating that way for a time in our lives. Like, we, you know, getting on the path, you pretty much wake up to, wow, I was doing a lot of fuck shit.
Right.
And I didn't even know it.
That's the reason why we feel confident to share and talk though as confidently as we do, because we've been there. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That we still get those thoughts in our head, like, what? This person tried me. But it's like, it's a level of spiritual responsibility for yourself. You start to love yourself so much that you're like, I'm not letting that person mess up my karma. I'm good.
Yeah, you're like, I'm not letting them get me out of my center. I love that. I really love that. And I love too when you said really early in the podcast, like, when you're comparing, putting yourself in a box, like, I just want to reiterate that. Like, I loved when you said that. It's like, you're just setting yourself up for failure. Like, you don't know why people have what they have or don't have. Like, they have so many, we are such complex beings that all of us have such different, like, lessons, such different soul paths. Like, yeah, there's core themes that we could talk about on the podcast, but like, you know, it's like you going to a general reading and thinking it's like tailored to you. Like, no, that's why you go to a specific reader, get a tailored reading, because you know that it's specific to you because you're so unique. And that's the joke. Like, everybody's so unique, like that we're all unique. So everybody, you know, like, so no one's really special because we're all special, you know, like
you're all in your divine. And that's what we just want to do, is empower everyone, even the people who may not agree with us all the time, may not like, may not want to hear this, may be triggered at times. There's going to be people that listen to us now, get triggered by something, and then come back later. You know what I mean? Like, and that's been happening. I feel like I know that's been happening to me my whole life. I get blocked all the time for being positive.
Yeah, I know. I mean, we talked about it too. Like, I wonder if we should do a whole podcast on it one day, because it's like, I know I'm very open about it. Like, I told you, I came to you, like, we had conversations, because it's like, but I just, for me, I figured out that your vibe, well, I said this before, I feel like I said this on podcast, I'm going to do, like, you know, your vibration is just very, very, like, pure. I want to say in Spanish, like, pura. Like, it's a very pure, yeah, you know, it's like, it's a pure, like, high level, like, happiness, almost like a high level joy. And that's like your natural
energies come for that too. I almost said that when you were talking about other people that you have seen in alignment and doing the work. When you are operating from so much alignment, that's when stuff starts to seep in to test you as well.
Yeah. And that's all it is recognize it's a test, you know, and you want to pass it. And I think, like, people listening, like, maybe that's helpful for you to recognize, like, okay, this is another test. Am I going to stay centered? Am I going to stay aware? Am I going to give myself the space to feel what's coming up and give myself forgiveness? Like, I don't think, like, we're not advocating for any of you to bypass your feelings. Like, when we were talking about anger and, like, the lower vibrational feelings, like, no one is saying to bypass that. We were just saying, like, for those of you who are ruminating and getting stuck, go.
Feel it. Don't turn it into anger. The worst thing you can do is let your hurt get to anger, because then it's harder to heal it and process it backwards.
Yes. You know, what's so funny is, like, you were talking about anger, and I've been dealing with anger, but it's like, it's cool. Like, this is, like, I think the point for everybody, like, even, like, between us, like, who have so much, like, in common, like, we still see things so differently too. And like, when I was, for you, like, you were like, my anger, I realized, is like almost like a sadness, right? Like, it's almost like it's like a hurt. And like, for me, I'm realizing this week specifically too, it's been coming up a hell of a lot. It's like, my anger is actually, like, for me, I'm seeing it's actually, like, rooted in fear. And it's like my response to fear. So it's like that is like how nuanced this can be for folks. And I think, I don't know, I don't know why. I just want folks to get this. Like, I don't know who needs to understand, like,
And
we are all really different.
it
Like,
took me a while. It took me literally till like last year to realize that the times I was acting so tough and angry was because I was hurt.
mhm.
And like you said, and fear, like fear will make you kick up and try to protect yourself from things that didn't happen yet.
Yes, yes. Yeah, yeah.
Free. Yeah.
It's a lot.
Oh,
It's a lot.
word.
But like, but the point is like, like nothing can control you. Like nothing can do anything to you. Like nothing can do anything without your permission. So for those of you who feel some kind of fear about like, oh, something's gonna control me, well, you know what? Like then you need to take back your power and say that you control yourself and that you choose God, because that's like the best thing I can tell you.
Yep.
Is like it's making no choice is actually making a choice for the other side in this like, if we're going to go with like the language of like the warfare, okay?
Mhm.
Like there's no like neutral. It's either you choose God or you don't. And then you don't have to choose God the way we choose God, right? You don't have to choose the positive the way we choose the positive, but you do have to choose it for yourself in your own way.
Right.
um and so that when these negative energies, these negative things come up, you're able to be centered and figure out what it is for you and what it's telling you for you. And sometimes it's just like other people's stuff, and that's okay. It doesn't have to go too deep, whatever it
Mhm.
is, but you'll be better able equipped is coming through to handle that.
Right.
So I don't know. I feel like we're actually almost complete. How are you feeling? What do you think? Is there other stuff like we want to say on how to handle negative energy? Like, what do you think?
And cleansing yourself is okay. Even if you wake up one day and realize, all right, I've been being the negative one. It's okay to reset yourself and forgive yourself. The same way we're
Facts.
saying in forgiveness to other people, you can wake up and say, damn, I caused a lot of this to myself. Like
Mm-hmm.
there's been times like, we've talked a lot about past relationships and stuff like
Mm-hmm.
that, where I did woe is me for years and then woke up one
Mm-hmm.
day and was like, woe is my dumb ass because I left myself in this fucking situation. You know what I mean? Like you kind of get to a point where you can take control at every time. And for ladies that are listening, no matter what happened to you or what you're going through, something that helped me is thinking of like a goddess energy. Like when you
Mm.
set in boundaries, Cleopatra was not putting LOL at the end of her boundaries. You know what I'm saying? Nefertiti was not saying maybe, thank you, I'm sorry. You know what I mean? It was no. And Nefertiti was not wasting her time hating on everybody else's pictures while they were scrolling through the timeline. Like you kind of got to get yourself into your higher self. And if you don't know
Mm-hmm.
your higher self yet, picture the highest form that you would want to be and operate
Mm-hmm.
from that way of thinking. Because
Mm-hmm.
emotional maturity is a thing.
That was a big theme we came up. We did.
Yeah.
We did. Yes,
And
we did talk
and
about
it's
that.
true because I feel like when I wasn't in touch with my feelings, like I probably in the past would have been one of those like, no, I would have looked on TikTok for some shit. You know what I'm saying? Or put honey in a jar and pop that bitch in a freezer because somebody said to do that. Like, and it's so silly. Like, especially now that we're so seasoned and we know about Akashic records, we know what we carry into other lifetimes. I
Yeah,
wouldn't
yeah,
waste
yeah.
my time on. I want my next lifetime to be so lit that I'm not doing nothing out of my life.
It's so funny. It's like for those of you listening, like people doing those kinds of things, if you're in alignment, like the best protection is your light shining, to be
Mm,
honest. Like I think we talked
mm.
about that once. Like I heard that from
Your light
someone.
is
That
your
wasn't from
shield. I
me.
feel like we
Your
heard, yeah.
light is your, we heard that and we talked about that a long time ago, I remember. And it's like, those things can't really touch you. So, nobody can just like do something and it touch you unless for some reason you've agreed to it. And that could be for a lot of things. Like for some people, it's karmic stuff that they're working out. Like I don't know your life.
Right.
We don't know your life, but like it it really essentially the way energy works, like it can't if you're where you need to be. So you don't have to worry too much about all that. Like I just feel like I guess like a little bit of worry or like mind racing energy, and it's
Yes.
like,
Yes.
where is that coming from? Like you need
That's
to sit
given
with that. And
it is like given a lot of power, because I feel like when we met, I was very, very like, I feel like people's doing a hex on me. I feel like this, what if this house is haunted? And you helped me with a lot of those fears by saying like, it's not real if you're not giving power to it. So even
yeah,
like now that I say like we're in an energetic war, we're in a spiritual war and shit is happening, I'm still cleansing, and there may be, minor
yeah, still do
inconveniences.
your stuff. I'm doing my
Right,
stuff.
right,
I'm not gonna be here in front with y'all.
right.
So go, like, I'm not gonna front.
He's
Like,
like,
I'm
I'm
not
still
sitting here
taking
not
these
doing my
baths,
shit. Like,
right?
I'm doing my shit.
But
Like,
I always keep that in the back of my head that, people are only as much as powerful as you make them out to be. And when you're protected, and like you said, you can't sleep on God like that and think that you gotta give God an extra hand when he got you for that. You know what I'm saying? Like in
yeah,
certain
fact.
instances, we are working for divine. Like what we're doing
Mhm.
now is working for
Oh yeah,
divine.
this is all service. This is all
If
service.
someone is trying to energetically attack you, trust that divine is working for you. Those are the times where you
Yes.
have to have the most faith and know that you're good. And regardless of the inconvenience, somebody could put the evil eye, you might get a flat tire, but trust they're getting 4 flat tires. So
Yeah, and
your inconvenience will only be really quick, and you can still pray on it, and they sitting there calling it back to themselves. So we just gonna pray for
I'm
everybody.
happy I never met you when you were in your petty energy.
It's like
Yo, I'm
it might
crying.
be a minor
I'm
setback for a major
crying. Yo,
comeback.
I'm crying. Remind me never to double cross you.
I'm just sitting here. I'm not gonna be one of those old church ladies that's like, bless her heart, because
I'm
she don't even
dead.
know
Yo,
what's
I'm
going
dead.
on.
Yo, I'm sorry.
And,
I'm literally
and
crying.
guys too. Guys are doing this weird energy thing right now where they're in their feelings. There's a lot of hurt divine masculine that are in their feelings, and they're processing it differently because they may not be as catty as females are. So
You, mhm.
it's just a
What do you
big
mean?
energetic.
What
Like
do you mean?
I feel like the way when girls are hurt, and we're saying, in the spiritual community, they can go on TikTok. Guys aren't going, not necessarily all of them. They may not be going on TikTok and thinking up spells. They may not be looking up ways to heal themselves. So they're operating out of this hurt energy too, but they're never going to say they're hurt because that's not, taught to the divine masculine like that. So
Mhm.
their evil eye may be a little different. They're not, whereas a female may project onto somebody else, a male will start not respecting their body and themselves.
Mm.
And
And the
they're
people around them, the
and
women around them,
right. So
the
that's still
partners they choose.
karmically degrading their energy and like depleting
I
their
like that you said that. I like that you said that you talked about like how there's differences in how like the divine masculine energy will show, and how divine feminine energy will show up and like deal with this kind of stuff. I mean, people can just recognize like maybe you have both of those patterns, maybe you don't, like you could figure out that energy yourself. And I like that. I like that because it's true. And it's funny that you mentioned degrading your body, because one of the things that pops up in my head too, when we were talking just now before I had a crying fit, was like was like you know how you treat your body matters. So like if you're in, like, you're eating right, you're taking care of yourself, you're doing what you need to do. And eating right, I don't know what that looks like for you. It could look different, it could look not, I don't know. Like I don't think there's like one way of doing things right. But like that also assists you with being protective and handling negative energy as well, is you taking care of you and doing what you feel called to do.
yeah, stress
So
holds in the body. You know what I mean?
yes,
That's
yeah,
why
it does.
it's so like, if you don't really know what chakras are and you hear people saying cleanse your chakras, you think we're talking about crystals and stuff. And it's literally your chakras are your energy fields. And the more they're blocked, the more you don't open them, the more you're like, it's almost like a blockage to your own body. Like,
Yeah, and it'll show up in your body. So I mean, it'll show up in your body, just like it'll show up in your experience. If like you have a belief that you're not worthy, I was saying this earlier, like, or you don't deserve something, or you're separate, or you're alone, you're gonna see that in your experience. If you have a belief that you're not powerful, you're gonna see that in your experience. So it's like, you know, you want to shift those things when you find them, I guess. And maybe that's for some a small percentage of
Right. And
folks.
I
Maybe
was
that's
gonna
what
say
the
that because I feel like that just popped in my head on the fly, like thinking
girl.
of that's like how divine masculine deals with negativity. They don't openly
Hmm.
express it. They don't come from a vulnerable state. They just start
Yeah.
operating on what they think is nonchalantness, but it's really like not caring about their body. Because if a female did it, there it's you know, we carry those energies, and you know, and females do it too, but I just feel like that's a different specific case when they
I feel what you're saying. You're just, I
yeah.
think you're just getting specific in seeing patterns in certain energy fractals. And so I'm thinking all these words coming out.
Right. And
But
for
like,
and for
but you know,
men, it
but
makes it look easy. Yeah.
yeah, so you're just pointing out, like, you're just getting very specific and getting like drilling down into like certain patterns of energies that you've been sensing and
Mhm.
like you're around you, and just what you're picking up at psychically. So like I get it. I hope people who are listening get it.
Right. I hope we're not,
So,
I'm like going all over the place, but definitely
yeah.
like it's just it's how you deal with negative energy, whether it's yours or not, whether you deserve it or
Hmm.
not. Half the times, none of us deserve that. More than
We
half.
never, we
Nobody,
never
yeah,
did
more
it.
than
Yeah,
half.
but we never did. But we tricked ourselves into thinking we did, and
Hmm.
then that's when we did. When you believe you do, then you do.
Hmm.
So I like that. It makes me think of alcohol, to be honest. I feel bad. I'm not trying to call people who drink alcohol. I love y'all, but like, you know, if you're doing like, you know, that's another way of being kind of self-destructive. Like, I don't know. I was reading a book, like it's whatever you consume. Think about even like the books, the movies, the things you're watching, like what are you feeding yourself? Like what are you putting in your body? What are you ingesting? Like who are you talking to? What are you talking about? Like we were kind of talking about that earlier. I was trying to tell you about that, you know, like that was something that's really been coming up for me. Like what am I consuming? Being a mindful consumer. And that's it's just responsibility. But if you guys want power, this is what power is. And coming into your power, there's no power without responsibility. You know, I mean, I guess there is, but do you no, I don't really think there is. I think it's always power with responsibility. And
Right.
at least in the positive sense.
And
So
it's definitely something everybody, the whole world, the collective is going through at one
yes,
time.
you're definitely not alone.
What's crazy is I was on Facebook and a friend of mine who doesn't speak Spanish, he posted a video and was like, "Can you guys translate this for me? So I know my neighbor isn't like doing anything wild next door," because he could hear his neighbor. What she was doing was she was saging and getting the negative spirits out of her house, like cleansing her house, but she was like blacking out, like in Spanish. So this kid is like, "Please guys, let me know what this lady is saying next door. I just need to know if I need to move out, da da da." So I'm reading the comments because, you know, I don't speak Spanish either. So I'm reading the comments and everybody's like, "Don't worry, she's cleansing her house. You need somebody like that next door." she's
You do. Somebody that has
off the
spiritual
spirit.
hygiene. Like,
Yes.
yeah,
And
yeah.
this is like a 80-year-old woman blacking out. And she's saying the same thing we just went over right now, was that all she was doing
Mm,
was clearing the negative energy from her house, asking God to remove anything that doesn't belong there. And it's
mhm.
that simple. And if you feel like energy is heavy, you can do that at any time. I'm always telling
Yes.
people, call on your spirit guides, call on your angels, ancestors. And when you're in a vulnerable state, always, I don't know where we heard this from, but I feel like I say it a lot, is to only call in for our highest good. Don't
Yes.
get in the habit of, I call in this energy for protection, this energy to help me fight this battle, because you don't know all those energies. You call
Hmm.
in what's in alignment, what has your best interest. I even read somewhere that they were like, be careful what ancestors you call in, because some of them are still
Mm,
hurt and unhealed. So they
hmm.
coming back to fight a battle that they didn't get to finish years ago. So it's specific when you're calling in. Like I'm always like, angels, angels,
It's
please.
true. Things that unconditionally love you, beings, entities that unconditionally love you. I think that's a good point. It's not about calling in just anything. And I want to add, like, to the cleansing piece that I love. It's like, you know, one thing I've heard too, and something I practice, and I know we've talked about before, is like, not only do you cleanse when you feel the need to cleanse at any time because it's always available to you, but like also like make sure to refill back up with unconditional love, or reset it up with like the highest light or the highest vibration, or like, you know, you want to refill yourself up and not leave yourself empty. Like, you
Right.
know, like you don't want to cleanse without refilling up with like your highest divine light, or I don't know, whatever comes to your mind. But like, just like, you know, like God's unconditional love, like whatever it is, like white light, whatever color light that's
Mhm.
appropriate, from the angels, like
Ma,
whatever it
I
is.
called in a white light to get my vaccine, dog. Like, I don't
Oh, you
play.
really did. Yo, you were hilarious. Tell me how Leigh called me and told me that the whole time she was picturing them vaccinating her with some fucking white ass like light, diamond light.
Oh, I
That was
protected
hilarious.
myself. And to this day, my sister tells people how I didn't get sick. I was the only person in this family who just took the vaccine and didn't feel nothing. And I was like, because God was in mine.
Hey, because you did what was in alignment for you. Like you felt called to do it, you did it, and you did it the way that felt good. I think that's amazing. You know,
Yeah.
like people really need to do that, whether you feel called to do it or not do it, whatever. Don't do stuff that you don't want to do, and don't do stuff because you think other people told you you need to do it. It's like,
And
that's
as
it.
cheesy as the message is, it is to come from a place of love of all the time.
Mm.
I can't stress how half of my life was people trying to tell me that that was stupid and how I need
Yes.
to protect myself and be not bitter, but everybody wanted me to be this like, don't take no shit, don't let people take advantage of you. And yes, I need to learn that, but I feel like other people need to learn that it's okay to operate out of a place of love. Even if people screw you over, say, okay, God showed me that I didn't need those people in my life.
Yeah. Yeah. It's funny because there's a quote, I mean, that I'm gonna post soon that you're reminding me of talking about that. And it's like, being compassionate doesn't mean like being a doormat, you know, like it doesn't mean like, you know, like letting people step all over you. But coming from love is like you can be in love and like set your boundaries, like they're not separate, you know. And I like that because it's like I think people feel like they don't want to do what you're like, what great advice that you're suggesting, like always come from love, because I feel like people get caught up in thinking like that's weakness, or that translates to being weak, that translates to not being protective of yourself, that translates to not having boundaries, that translates to being kind to people that are not kind to you. And that's not it. That's not what I don't get that when you're saying that. It's like move from love in all things. And sometimes love is telling a motherfucker to shut the fuck up. Like
Right. And like
if
you said,
if
it's
if you're in your center, you know, you can
Mhm.
do that. It happens.
And like today, I said, I was telling you something, I was telling Sabrina something, and I'm like, I was worried that I overstepped the boundary. And Sabrina's like, I think you just set a boundary for yourself. And
Yeah, it
that's what
did.
came to mind now is like, I'm still operating out of love. I'm trying to operate being grounded, but at the same time, I'm learning to stand up for myself in a healthy way
Yes.
without getting
Yeah.
all crazy.
Yeah. Yeah. Although it's still there if it's needed.
Right,
But it's
right.
like, but I feel you. I feel you on that. I feel you like 1,000%, 100%. Like, because it's like, I think that's another thing. Like, people are like, with negative energy, well, what, you know, like, I just feel like it's just so much misperceptions. And like, if you didn't know how energy works, like, I hope you got a little bit of how energy works, like, from this conversation that we're having.
Mhm.
Because, like, you know, you wouldn't think it's weakness if you really understood what we're talking about. You wouldn't. And if you do, then maybe like that's a class we should have, you know,
Right.
message us, let us know. Like we
We'll
can
put
go
that in
deeper
our
into that.
lesson on the word simp and how simp is not simping, only because simping is real. And
Yeah.
what they use as the term simp is somebody who's coming out of love and somebody who's being, a genuine good person. And people are trying
Yeah.
to take that term and make it negative. So it's like,
Yeah. Yeah. You really wouldn't be so pressed about this is coming through on what you're saying, like a response. Like y'all really wouldn't. I don't know who the hell we talking to. So if you're still here listening, this is hilarious. And I hope this is for you or somebody you know. But you know, y'all really wouldn't be so pressed about people taking advantage of you if you weren't freaking trying to take advantage of other people yourself on some level, or we're still allowing people to take advantage of you. Like you wouldn't be pressed about these things if you were in alignment and understood how things really work. I just keep getting that. So if you want to learn more about how things work, we're going to be holding circle and doing workshops and stuff. I feel like we're on the verge of getting ready. So
the last trigger that I'm going to say that statement reminded me of for that this may trigger
okay.
some people is we asked for
Okay.
these lessons.
Mm,
We literally asked for these lessons.
mm.
So if you feel like you're still caught up in a cycle, it's because you yourself said, I need to get past this level, this board on this video game we call life. You specifically said, do not move me up to the next level until I learn that.
And that's the best thing you could do for yourself. Why would you want to move up if you haven't gotten it yet?
So it's hard to see people when they're blaming others and they're doing things. And sometimes the lesson, like I feel like because I went through it, we always say we get readings from people like that we are able to give advice because we went through it.
Mm-hmm.
So I get a
Mm-hmm.
lot of females that like you know, the minute they're ready to walk away from a toxic cycle and
Mm-hmm.
being wrapped up in a toxic cycle for so long
Mm-hmm.
and just giving excuses, and
Mm-hmm.
I'm literally like, the test was to walk away. The test
Yeah.
was like, this is so off topic, but it's kind of in topic. It's like, you know, with relationships and saying you want these lessons to be over with, it comes in different forms. You might have been abused in one relationship, you're healing from that, and now you're getting a person who's gaslighting you. Although it's not physical abuse, although it's not cheating, this is another boundary that you have to say, I got to walk away from that too.
Yeah, it's emotional abuse now. It's a different version of abuse.
It's a different version, but because you've been severely abused in the past, you say, oh no, this is fine. I can handle this right here. This is nothing compared to what I've been through. But your higher self is like, no, we're not leaving until you put your foot down for this too.
Mm-hmm.
And it'll be the easiest lesson. And I feel like I've been getting so many male and females that as soon as they like put that boundary, things took off like really fast.
Oh my God. Yeah, that's exactly it. And it resonates a lot for me too, because I feel like I've had a lot of that lesson. Like, I feel like sometimes like the negative energy, like, I guess try to bring it a little bit back to the topic. The part that I'm seeing that it overlaps is like the negative energy in your life. Sometimes the lesson is you don't need it in your life. It's not that you're supposed to figure out how it fits in your life. It's how do you live a life without that level of it, or how do you live a life with it integrated and understanding it for what it was like. So that resonated a lot, because you know that's how I feel a lot about like some of the relationships and the toxicity like I've experienced like in my life. So like that definitely hit home. Like I felt that was really good.
Ooh,
I hope y'all felt it too.
We is working today.
We really had a lot to say. It's been a minute too, and we really were waiting to like, it's like the flow. So like it's crazy. I'm surprised we're doing this at night. We usually do this in the morning. So this is very like, this is interesting. It's
Fresh
funny how this happens.
energy.
It really is. It is so much energy. But we hope you guys are good. I'm sending y'all so much love. I don't know. I think like it feels complete. I hope it's complete. Like, what do you think? Like,
I feel like we should definitely look. I want to look into the portals and stuff and other helpful things that are going on this month, and maybe we'll check back in mid-month or sometime next week or something to talk about before. Maybe what's funny is we should do like a before and after retrograde.
How we survived and tell the stories of how retrograde was.
So low for retrograde because I feel like we're already in retrograde. So I could only
yeah, honestly, that's what was funny. And I was trying to saying a little bit in the beginning is like I keep feeling called, like spirit has basically told me like all of September, like you have a bunch of shadow work to do, ho. And I'm like, oh, well, all right, that's what we're doing. Like I thought I was, it's never really done. So it's like all this stuff has been coming up that I'm like, whoa, okay. So they're like, you really need to be alone. You need to spend your time. So I'm actually surprised that like I got called to like call you today, Leigh, and like we had that conversation. And like I feel like it's gonna be an interesting month of balancing like us doing our own work like we've been doing, and then like coming out of our like little caves like when we get called to like talk and be with everyone else and share with whatever messages, insights that have come through. So I think that's going to be fun to do.
It is going to be quite the ride, but like my good prophet Sabrina said, October is going to be a good month.
Did I say that? I feel like you said that.
No,
Did
I
I?
feel like you called May. You called out May when I saw, okay, so I'm gonna tell y'all. When I went to visit Sabrina in December, she said everything will be good by May. I literally went back to Florida in May and we had the best time ever for
We
your
had a
graduation.
good time in May. May was
We had
fun.
a
Yeah,
good
that was
ass
fun.
time.
That
And
was a really good time.
you said, I feel like the next time is going to be October. So even if I don't get to go to Florida in October, I feel like what you're sensing
I
is
feel like I'm actually gonna come see you, to be honest. I didn't want to tell you, but I think I'm gonna pull up on you. Pull up on you.
pull up on me.
We'll figure that out. But yeah, I forgot about October. I think October is gonna be really nice. So if everybody could just buckle in, do what they need to do, we will get through September closer to what. But the thing is, like, I don't know why the hell is this coming up. Maybe this is for me. So when I hear this, I hear myself yelling at myself. It's like, do the work so like you don't, it's not that you're missing anything, but that you don't have to extend what the delay. You don't have to delay. I don't have to delay myself because they're telling me like, do this work now so you're ready. Like, you don't know how it's gonna all stack up, so you just listen to the breadcrumb. So the breadcrumb is do your work this month. So
Right,
wherever that's for myself, for us,
be
or
cool.
whatever.
My new saying is be cool how you be cool. Like however cool is for you, be that for this month.
I like that. Be that. I like that. I'm gonna make that in a Canva for you.
Yes,
Be cool how you be cool.
be cool because it's a hibernation month. I love to hibernate during retrograde. I'm Virgo is a Mercury sign, so I kind of have this sick, like I like it a little bit because because I know like shit is shifting.
It's a late night podcast, y'all.
I kind of like I'll be in retrograde, like, oh, I don't like it, but I do like it at the same time because it's very like shifty and I operate from Mercury, but I know that it ain't everybody else is in different energies. So
Yeah, you know what? Your moon operates from Mercury too. So that's actually really interesting. Like, you really operate from Mercury. Like a different, I mean, sign, but they're both ruled by Mercury, aren't they? That
yeah,
just hit me.
yeah.
So yeah, yeah. That's cool. And it's your birthday month. Woohoo! Don't forget it's her birthday month. So you can say happy birthday all month.
Yes,
Okay, this
all
is Leigh-Ana's
month.
month. This is
I
Leigh-Ana's
love
month.
September. September would be my birthday. That's like when school starts, the start of fall. I'm like, yeah. I love everyone. Everyone, make sure y'all follow Sabrina Latina Explains It All because my girl is back on the grams.
Oh my God, I'm
If you
dead.
guys want to sign up for Circle, that will be coming out soon. Make sure you get all
it will be, yeah, probably late September, October. We're figuring it out. We're getting close, but it's gonna happen. It's gonna be a good time. And make sure, I mean, I would be surprised if you're not following the Duchess of Jersey already on Instagram. But if you're not, please make sure you follow. Like, if you found this podcast through Apple Podcasts, come find her on Instagram, please. Thank you.
Yes, we'll be getting messages up. I think I'm gonna try to do my lives because my lives have been far and in between. So I'm gonna make sure I stay with the moon cycles.
I like that you do the moon cycles. I feel those. And you're still doing readings, right? Are you still taking readings?
Yeah, I'm still taking readings. Those are still fun. I actually had somebody from Paris again the other day. I love my international.
Ooh, shout out to
got me a PayPal from
Paris. Okay. That's what's up. I love it. All right. Well, until next podcast, family, we love you so much. Yeah, that's it.
Yes, follow us. Make sure you share this. Make sure you email us if you have any questions. Everything will be in the description box below.
Ooh, I'm a point as we stop it
in the description box below.